Hello, hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of VollThrottle, where today we are covering episode 5 of Drag Race Germany Season 1. I am your host, Extra, and as always, I am joined by my super special German correspondent, all the way from the rolling hills of the Rhineland, Thomas.
Hi!
How are you, baby?
I'm amazing. That is a straight up lie. Our hot water isn't working. I'm stressed from work.
Yep.
Yeah, but everything else is amazing.
The world is burning, but you know what? I'm alive. So
Yeah.
I guess there we are. Now, I am right there with you. We are in a very similar boat. I feel like we're finally getting into like the thick of the season. You know, I feel like we're starting to see kind of the long-term storylines start to form. We can kind of get a feel for who we think is going to be there for the long haul up until the finale.
I am surprised that some queens are actually performing that well. Other queens, as we will see this episode, for the first time seem to falter a little bit.
Right.
So, yeah.
Before we dig in too deep, we do want to give a short disclaimer not to send any negativity or hate to any of the queens that we talk about in this video. It's an issue with every season, but we really want to lift these queens up, so we're just not going to do that, all right? Now, this week, it's funny because the first time I watched through the ep, I kind of was more entertained by the mini-challenge than I was by the Maxi-Challenge.
Yeah.
But that's because the mini-challenge was really fun. When Barbie and Gianni come in, I love the looks, as usual. I guess we could consider that a onesie. This black number that Barbie's wearing with this oversized zipper and the huge zipper pull. I love it.
Yeah, no, I love these two. I like always Johnny with the skirts as well. I feel like there's a pattern there as well. He loves the skirts, and I love it. I'm here for it. They always make me happy. So
Agree. So they introduce a game called Zack, which I don't know if anybody gets this reference, but it kind of reminded me of like a 4-member team $10,000 pyramid, where you're just basically trying to get someone to guess a word or an idea. And so there's 2 teams with 4 queens on each team, and they've got headphones on until it's their turn to guess, and they try to telephone that clue down the line to reach the end and to get the most number of points. Team 2, who actually ended up winning, they did a pretty good job. Like, some of the words were relatively easy and familiar that even American audiences would understand, like schadenfreude, but there were a couple of words that were really tough, and I feel like the other team was just kind of shit out of luck on drawing the difficult words. One of them was Schabernack, which is like shenanigans, but I know that's not a real common word because I mean even Nikita was like having a lot of trouble getting it, but it led to my favorite moment of the mini challenge, which of course Kelly Heelton said that, wow, that'd be a great drag name, Tatiana Schabernack.
yeah.
Which I thought was freaking hilarious. I really do hope we see a Tatiana Schabernack come out of the House of Heels sometime soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
On the runway, Barbie looks stunning, as always, and I've gotten to notice over the last couple of weeks on her Instagram, every week she posts a video called Behind the Seams, where she sits down with the designers of her dresses and discusses the meaning behind them, behind the wigs, and there's a lot of thought that goes into it every week. I haven't watched the one for this week, I don't know if she's posted it yet, but I think this dress is really gorgeous. I love how the textures and the shiny all kind of point to that middle point. It almost looks like a dark starburst of sorts, but I think the pink hair goes really well with it, and the blue makeup, these big black gloves. We know what activities she will be up to at the rave parade.
Yeah, she looks amazing as always. I love her makeup. I love the gloves. I love the shimmery dress. I'm always impressed with her outfits and her looks.
Yeah, she's so magnetic. I'm so wooed by her charisma anytime she steps onto the stage. And, of course, her right-hand man, Gianni Jovanovic.
Such a cutie patootie. He's so cute.
Oh, yeah. He was given some sass today, and, I mean, there was some sass being given to him from the girls on the runway, which was kind of surprising.
Yeah, no, I didn't really understand why they were so fed up with his critiques, because to me, they always seem very fair, honestly. So.
Right. And I mean, they're honest for sure. And we don't know what else is happening, behind the scenes.
Yeah,
There have
that's
been several times this season that I've like gotten the sense that more was going on than we were getting to see. And we'll touch on that later.
yeah,
But it's nice
yeah.
to, as the season goes, kind of see a little bit more of that storyline. And of course, Diane, she is feeling close to God tonight, honey. Do you see how high this hair is?
Oh, it's so
It
high.
is gorgeous, and it goes with that emerald green dress so beautifully with that pop of a red lip. And man, her German was like especially terrible tonight, and I just love
Yeah.
it. I love it so much.
I felt like Herbert was on a break.
I thought she hit rock bottom when she said, "Ja, ich machen," but you know what?
Yeah,
She took Dinglish to a new level this episode, and I'm not upset about it.
I'm obsessed with her. She's amazing. Again, she just makes me happy.
And Konstantinos the stylist joins us again this week after taking a week off in this lovely bedazzled brown number. I mean, brown fabric is not something we commonly see stoned to all hell, but you know what? He looks like he's on his way to a bear rave somewhere.
Yeah. He looks cute.
No, he really does. He seems to be having a good time. So, the Maxi-Challenge this week was, I don't know if there's a specific German reference for it, but it was giving me very Judge Judy vibes, like a televised, trashy, judging show.
Don't you remember when I told you when we talked about Snatch Game?
Yes.
That this is the character I thought we were gonna see in Snatch
so
Game.
this is in reference to a specific TV character.
Yeah, the character she's referencing is Richterin Barbara Salisch.
Oh, her name is Barbara?
And it makes so much sense because she's Barbie and Barbara. So this made so much sense to me. I was like, I heard what the name of the Maxi Challenge was. I was like, I'm living for this.
I'm so glad. No, that makes total sense, and I'm really glad that that's what it is. Because yeah, Barbie did a great job. She was just kind of gruff, no nonsense judge.
She was so funny.
Yeah, I really enjoyed her throughout, and honestly, she was the thread of continuity that this needed, because much like the advertising, the dragvertising challenge, these storylines that the girls are giving are pretty chaotic and pretty all over the place. I mean, two of the teams, I feel like the storyline was over before it really got started, and the other two teams' storylines just go and go and go until they just unravel into pure chaos. Which we'll talk about here next. But Barbie was definitely really hilarious to see her reactions the whole time.
Yeah. Also, I felt like her character was just hilarious as well, and she played it so well too. So.
Oh yeah, no, she was so consistent and committed to the character. It really gave the main challenge a a really solid foundation to work on.
Yeah.
So Team A, Eyebrow Gate, was made up of Metamorkid and Pandora, the Austrians. Then they definitely wanted to work together, and so it was really fun to see them work together. Which this storyline is so ridiculous. It's about a girl who went to get eyebrows tattooed on her face, but instead the tattoo artist does it on her like basically tramp stamps. She gives her a tramp stamp set of eyebrows. And I mean, they serve some really hilarious characters here, but I mean, the storyline they're trying to sell is that Pandora can't tell up from down or top from bottom, and Metamorkid can't tell front from back. And so they're both like direction dyslexic, which is just ridiculous. And they give it to us over the span of like 30 seconds, and then all of a sudden they're like making out and it's over, and I was not impressed with the storyline. But that's the thing, is I know that they were given prompts, but that it was an improvisation challenge. And the thing is, we don't have any idea how much of this was improv and how much of this was scripted. They don't really tell us really any details about that. So it was kind of hard to know how much of this was the girls and how much of this is what they were given. But to be fair, it was pretty equally chaotic across all the teams, so it's not like that played into one team's favor more than another. What do you think?
No, I agree. I personally must say that Meta's character seemed more fleshed out, and she didn't seem to be like, she didn't get confused or like thrown off by what Pandora did.
Yeah.
And I was kind of confused by that, because I thought that Pandora would actually thrive in this kind of thing, but I guess she does have her weaknesses.
True. True,
But
which
yeah,
is interesting to see at this point in the competition because we have known her as such a front runner in these
yeah,
challenges so far.
yeah,
But Meta on the runway, I really love this look.
yeah,
For the category Rave Parade, I mean, it definitely reads as Rave Parade. What it was really giving me was like the fancy set of Crayola markers. You know, the one that had the gray and pink at the end, which you know your
yeah,
parents like splurge on you for. And I always loved the gray and pink ones because I knew that they were the special colors. And so
yeah.
this look just like speaks to the child in me. And I love the ridiculous pigtails. She looks just the right amount of deranged and looks like she's ready for a party.
Yeah, no, this is amazing. I am obsessed with the nails and the earrings, the eye makeup. Hello.
Oh, and she's got
Everything about this
stars
is,
in her
yeah,
makeup, which
yeah,
match the stars in her jewelry.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
This is definitely a heist for me.
Yeah, I'll give her a heist in the Maxi Challenge and the runway because she did
Yeah,
have a nice fleshed out character, and I love this look.
yeah, agree. Totally agree.
Now her teammate Pandora Knox, this look is so ridiculous. It is giving me Lisa Frankfurt on main stage, like 100%. It is trashy, and she looks like a hoe who is out to have a great night.
Yeah,
I do agree with the judges that they read her for once again wearing big boobs and chaps
yeah,
and
no,
a bodysuit.
totally.
And I agree. Like it is not something shocking that bowled me over. I do think she looks great, and I think it's a ridiculous outfit that really fits the brief. But I did not disagree with the judges.
Yeah, no, I was kind of sad to see this. Also, I felt like once she takes off like the cap with the wig underneath it,
Yeah,
the green wig, like if she walked out in that, I think I would have like liked the whole outfit a lot more because
yeah.
it gave some contrast. I gotta give her a net on the runway and a shies on the main challenge. It was her performance was kind of lackluster.
Yeah, I agree with the judges. They said it was kind of one note, and she did just give that
Yeah,
one upset face. You know, she didn't really
yeah,
have any highs or lows or levels of any sort. So yeah, I agree. I'll give the performance on the Maxi Challenge a shice and a net on the runway. She does look
yeah,
good, but I mean, like they said, we hold her to a high standard.
yeah.
So next up, Team B, the foster mom storyline, was made up of the Brazilians, Victoria Shakespears and Kelly Heelton. Kind of just like the Austrians, I think the Brazilians really wanted to, take the opportunity to work together,
Yeah.
and they just look absurd. This was a storyline that kind of went on and on instead of being really short and truncated. It was a little bit confusing just because we assume in a storyline like this that Kelly would be the mother figure and that Victoria would be the daughter, but it's the other way around. And Victoria is the drag mother and Kelly is the drag daughter. And honestly, the makeup does tell that story. It just took a minute for me to like, kind of reset in my brain because Victoria looks like a crazy old woman, crazy old drag
She
queen.
really does.
And like the judges said, it is tough to stand up against a big personality like Kelly Heelton in a you know team acting challenge, and she did do a great job. She really held her own against a big personality, which was kind of
I
surprising to see.
I personally would go so far and even say that in my eyes she performed better than Kelly did in this challenge.
Fair, absolutely.
I preferred her performance much more than Kelly's. I mean, Kelly is amazing. She's an amazing actress. She's an amazing personality.
Yeah,
But I felt like um, Victoria was setting the stage. Like she was the one that like molded the whole scene.
yeah. But these girls were really serving some telenovela realness. I
Oh
mean, you
yeah,
see this dramatic slap that she's given. But this was about the point, like I said, that this storyline kind of started to go off the rails. I was a little
yeah.
confused by like Victoria wanted to be the queen of mother tucking, or there was just like the uses of mother tucking was kind of confusing to me. And then Barbie ended up feeling up Kelly's bulge to see what was fitting in the tucking panties that Victoria stole, but then it turns out that Victoria was actually the daddy but she's a drag queen, so we kind of knew that already. But then Kelly took off her wig too. I didn't understand the second half of this at all, and of course they ended up making out as well, which is kind of a pattern that we're seeing across all of these. Which does seem kind of like a cheap kind of cop out way to end a skit on Drag Race because it happens a lot, but today it seemed to be a thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was really chaotic.
So first up for this team, Victoria Shakespears on the runway, giving this neon raver girl look. It's very Gwen Stefani. I honestly didn't recognize her when she came out. It took me a second to realize that that was Victoria,
Right?
because her makeup is, I mean, her face is beat, and I really think that she looks great.
She looks stunning. I don't know who, like, one of the judges criticized the look and was like, you looked too much like.
Diane is tired of her seeing copies of other people. So she has done Britney a couple of times, and, this look is very Gwen Stefani. So I think she was just wanting more originality, which I do get, but this does look really good.
Maybe I just don't know Gwen Stefani well enough, but this looks amazing to me.
Yeah.
I loved it. I actually thought that she could have been in the. I mean, she was in the top, but this was a really strong week for her, and I'm very happy to see it because I felt like so far Victoria was kind of like starting pretty weak and then slowly working her way up. So
Yeah, she has definitely pulled out a couple of surprises the last couple weeks.
yeah,
I guess just if anybody struggles in the first couple episodes of the season, you just assume they're going to stay there,
yeah,
like Tessa does.
yeah,
But Victoria has kind of proven to buck that trend a little bit.
yeah.
So yeah, in the challenge and on the runway, I'm going to give her Heis.
Oh yeah, nice for sure for both.
And her lovely teammate Kelly Heelton. Okay, now the judges do remark about Kelly's runways as a whole tonight because they really haven't been very impressed by any of the looks she served, and I haven't really been either, and tonight is no exception. She does say that she was in her teen years in the 90s, and so she knows what she would wear to a rave parade type of event. And while she describes this as kind of punk and edgy and raver, I just see more like Rock'em Sakura designing like that Derek Barry's look for her parents conceiving her, which was really confusing. I I know that lingeries are a thing, but I don't think that's what she was referencing here, and I don't see punk. I see much more, yeah, like a lingerie party with some craft balls glued on. I'm not totally sold. Her
No,
makeup does
for
look, her face looks amazing. Her face
her
always looks
face.
incredible. There's so much
Yeah,
detail and color that I just adore, but I hate that I agree with the judges that the looks are just not there.
yeah. The dress is kind of ill-fitting. For me, also her point that this is something that she would have worn back in the 90s. Well, okay, maybe you shouldn't have.
Read.
No, I'm like, I love Kelly.
Absolutely.
She definitely has her strong suits. Her looks aren't one of them.
Yeah.
However, I do respect her for being like back when they went to the workroom and she was like, well, I guess they hate my looks, but this is who I am. I'm gonna keep doing me. And if they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. I can respect it. Although, I also gotta say, I feel like it's kind of like they should also be there to grow and try to like accept the critiques. I respect her for trying to stick to her like own self image, but like try to listen to the judges a bit, maybe.
Right. And that is very fair because there are a lot of girls on this show who have said that they don't care, that the judges
Yeah,
don't like their outfits. And you can tell that they really care. They're
yeah,
really trying not to care. Kelly, I believe her when she says that, she doesn't need their validation or them patting her on the back to feel like a good drag queen. But you're right. If you're at Drag Race, obviously you're there because you want to showcase your talents and you want to, but it is such a good opportunity to grow no matter how experienced and talented you already are.
yeah,
If these people that you know and respect are telling you that your looks could use some improvement, then there may not be that much that you can do with the package that you've brought to Drag Race. But as a drag queen in a career, having subpar looks is the easiest fix because especially after being on Drag Race and gaining hopefully a lot of new followers, I would like to think that she'll be able to afford to get nice outfits from designers that will gladly design things for her. And that's not going to have to be
Yeah.
her responsibility to like come up with all of her looks because she's got the charisma and the personality and that's the stuff you can't buy.
Yeah, that's yeah, completely agree. Yeah. So for me, Kelly was definitely a net on the challenge. It wasn't bad. It was just kind of like like chaotic and crazy, but it was fine. And the runway for me is scheiße. I'm sorry, Kelly. Your makeup is amazing, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there on both points. All right, the next team, Team C, which had the catfish storyline, was Yvonne, Nightstand, and Nikita Vegaz. Now, knowing these two are comedy powerhouses, I figured that this would be some big personalities and some big roles, and these two roles could not be more different. I mean, Yvonne is playing Bernd, this kind of vampire-looking dude who is just living in his own world, and I absolutely love it. And Nikita, just a big old slut who is stupid to match, which
Yeah.
she does so well.
I wonder why.
No, right? Well, and just them two together, they're very different, but kind of have a really strong sense of humor. And so seeing them work together was really fun. Of course, this skit also ends with them embracing. It was one of the shorter plot lines, like the first team, where they show up, they kind of explain who they are, and then all of a sudden they're together and it's over. Which,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's better than it spinning out into eternity. But I did love one of the references. Barbie makes a reference in regards to Yvonne looks to Rüdiger von Schlotterstein, which, after a quick Google, told me is the character from the book The Little Vampire. And when I Googled it, this is the first image that came up. And I must say that Yvonne looks eerily similar to the title
Yeah.
character.
Yeah. No, now that you mention it, she really does.
Well, I guess France has the little prince, Germany has the little vampire. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Yvonne Nightstand, she on the runway, I love this. And you know what? It's not that out of line for the other things that she has presented on the runway, but I think she really nailed this brief because it is colorful and chaotic, and the presentation that she gives, just stumbling all around the stage, it was unmistakable as a girl who has been partying for several many hours. She's got the different makeup on each eye and all the crazy stuff going on in her hair, but it all simultaneously looks messy and polished at the same time. And
Yeah.
it's a very strong night for her.
Yeah, I agree. I think this was one of the best looks she's presented so far. She kind of managed to make it look chaotic and, as you said, polished in one look. I love the asymmetrical earrings, the makeup that's kind of like, it doesn't make sense, but it makes so much sense at the same time. So
Yeah.
this is definitely one of my favorite looks of hers so far, and on the whole runway of the night, definitely.
Gosh, honestly, I could have seen her in the top. I really laughed at her vampire character a lot. I mean, it was so stupid. She had such a good idea for it. And paired with this runway, I thought she could have been up there.
Yeah. Also, I mean, we've criticized that these skits kind of like all end up in like sexual physical contact.
Yeah.
At least for their storyline, it made sense. I think what happened was that she was moving to meet him, and he always kind of like ghosted her. And I mean, they did meet on a website that literally said like "let's fuck."
Well, and the theme of the skit is catfish, but catfish is like lying about your identity, which I guess it is what it's kind of about. See, it was just confusing.
Yeah, no,
It just
I
didn't
agree,
like
yeah.
totally make sense. I mean, the characters were funny and you could get the general idea of the storyline they were supposed to operate in, but if you look too close to the details, you're not going to find anything that makes too much sense.
Yeah, no, yeah.
So
For
anyway,
sure.
I'll give her performance in the main challenge and on the runway a heist.
For me, it's a net on the challenge and a heist on the runway for sure.
Awesome. And her buddy Nikita Vegaz. When she walked out, my first thought was, "Oh, look at Thorgy Thor on the runway." I don't know what it is about the eyewear and the mannerism that she walked out with, but this look with the colors of the trans flag and the message with the sign, "Make love, not war." I really loved it, and I thought it was very Raver Girl.
I agree. I felt like she managed to put a political message behind it, which I liked that she talked about it early in the episode as well.
Yeah.
Because she's like, well, it started out as a like political movement, and
Right?
she kind of wanted to go back to that, and I think she did really well.
Well, like you said, she is a drag queen who has decades of experience on the scene in Berlin, and she and Kelly do have a really touching moment in the workroom talking about how dangerous it can be to, kind of lose yourself in the world of partying and drugs
Yeah,
when you are. And I don't even know if she was doing drag at that point or if she was just out partying, but when your income comes from nightlife and being out and partying or having the opportunity to party every night, it's really easy for it to become a habit and for it to get out of control without you even realizing it. And so I'm so glad that she's made it and has these experiences and can share
yeah,
that with other people.
definitely. Also, I feel like the whole drug thing and nightlife thing has been so romanticized in certain
Yeah,
scenes. I'm very glad that she's talking about the dangers of it as well. So yeah,
absolutely.
strong episode for her.
In the main challenge, I really loved her characterization. She had a ridiculous accent and it totally matched her storyline and she stayed on topic. I'll give her performance in the mini challenge a heist and I'll give her a heist on the runway as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Last up, Team D had the cake fight storyline, which I knew would be fun. We've got our last two queens, Loreley Rivers and Tessa Testicle. I really loved the characterizations in this one. They were entirely different, but like Barbie said, Lorelai's character was very understated. It wasn't like a big, bombastic, loud character, but it was such a good characterization. Like it gave me very like Tatiana vibes.
Yeah,
Just kind of like a dumb bitch, but like, look, I'm serious and I have something to say.
I went to school with this girl.
Really?
When I did my apprenticeship, right? I swear to God, 80% of my classmates were like this. I mean, they were kind of like more energy, but their level of intelligence was
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
It was amazing. And also, I think what she did and what nobody else apparently also on the production team clocked, there's this content creator on TikTok that plays this sort of character, and she mimicked her perfectly. She's playing this girl from Frankfurt, which is kind of known for being like messy.
Yeah.
It's like the Florida of Germany. Um, so yeah, this was amazing. I saw this in the preview. I was like, I'm in love with this character, and she did amazing on the challenge.
And I don't want to take away from Tessa's performance because she gave a very convincing kind of grandma character, which was a little bit like louder and more wacky than Lorelai's character, but I feel like Lorelai definitely stole the spotlight.
Yeah,
Unfortunately for me, this was the other storyline that just kind of spun out into nonsense. And so, I really enjoyed them establishing the characters and getting the basic storyline, which did make sense. It's like, I make a cake, she stole my recipe, I'm here to, file a complaint. That makes sense. But
yeah.
there was a reveal to another character that I didn't quite understand. And before I could even wrap my brain around that, there was another reveal to another character that she said was a quote like brother she fucked. I didn't know if that meant like an actual brother or just like a friend that something had happened with.
That's that's like slang for like an acquaintance.
I know. They said Bruder. They said brother. And I mean, we do that in English
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
but like in that context, I was just like, okay, well, that was a choice of words. And then Tessa throws the cake into Lorelai's face and they end up entangled on the floor. I mean, they're not making out like the other three teams were, but it still ended up with them entangled on the floor. It was a hot mess, but
yeah.
I did like the character that Lorelai was giving.
What I really loved about this was that the one who made this like super crazy and go off the rails and like did not make any sense was Tessa. And Loreley apologized to her later on. Like, oh my god, I'm responsible for it as well. Which I mean, I do think that it takes a lot of integrity to do that. But she was not at fault in the slightest. This was all Tessa just for like I could see her brain being like, okay, I'm not doing well. I'm just gonna do something crazy, and then then she realized, oh my god, this doesn't make any sense. I'll just go ahead and do something even crazier.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and you know that that's the mind space that she's in since she has already lip synced 3 times in 4 episodes. You know
Yeah,
that she's thinking, what can I do to stand out? I'm just going to
yeah.
go bigger. Oh, it's not working. Just
Oh, I don't blame her for thinking like that or for
no, no, I don't either.
no.
I don't either. And I'm glad you mentioned that, Lorelai apologized because looking back, yeah, she didn't do anything wrong. This isn't necessarily the easiest character to interact with because she's a little bit more like introverted, but there were lots of bones being thrown. And yeah, instead of really running with those, Tessa just kind of upped the chaos factor. And I
Yeah,
guess it fit in with the storyline. I guess if there's cake on stage, I shouldn't be too surprised if it gets thrown at some point.
yeah, no.
But especially after the 3 other teams have gone. But it was just a little chaotic. But I do think that Lorelai did a great job. And on the runway, this look took me a second just because I didn't necessarily connect like a cow print look with rave culture, but apparently that is totally a thing. And Barbie said she made an outfit just like this in '93. So, that being said, I think it looks awesome. I think that even though, like Barbie said, it is simple, I think it's enough. Like, her makeup is incredible. She does her signature brow, but it fits the brief really well. It is colorful. She's got the cow prints in her hair in pink. She almost is giving me kind of like a spice vibe, like a sugar or spice.
Hmm.
Like I don't know. I really thought that she served a great look.
Oh, this is amazing. It is a bit more understated than other looks we've seen on the runway so far, but this is a look that I could actually imagine being at a rave. The hair, I love the pink spots in the hair. I love the make. I mean, her makeup is always on point.
I thought that I would get tired of her signature brows because I know she introduced them in the Meet the Queens video at the beginning of the season, but she
Yeah,
hasn't been like doing it over the top every week. Like she's really given a nice diversity of looks. It wasn't like a Dusty Ray Bottoms like
yeah,
episode 1. Why are you doing these dots
yeah,
type
yeah,
situation.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think she has been really smart with the way that she's presented her looks. In the challenge and on the runway, she definitely gets highs from me.
yeah, yeah. Super, super high.
And last but not least, Tessa Testicle. I liked this runway more than some of the previous runways that she's given. It is also kind of in the colors of the trans flag. It's got a lot of different colors and textures throughout the outfit. There's some parts of it that are a little bit confusing. I don't quite understand the kind of nude color crushed velvet strap across the nipples. There are more of those kind of textures throughout the rest of the outfit, but I love the wig and I love the makeup. And I think there's a lot of good stuff here. It's a little chaotic, but in a brief like this, that stuff fits better than it would in most other briefs.
Yeah, no, it's a strong look for her. It's definitely one of the stronger looks that she's shown us so far. I like it. For me, it fits the theme, and she looks nice for sure.
I think it kind of looks a little bit like Sully from Monsters Inc. A little bit, just being blue
Yeah.
and furry up here. It almost seems
Uh huh.
like a play on that.
I see what you mean.
So I don't know if anybody noticed, but while each team was doing the post Maxi-Challenge interview with Johnny, Barbie was dancing around in the background doing a number of ridiculous things. And I honestly didn't notice it until the second watch through. But the first team, it's kind of hard to tell, but she's got an electric guitar and is dancing around in the background. With team 2, she has a stick horse. And she's riding around on a stick horse. Here she is kissing it in the background of Victoria and Kelly's interview. In this one, she has hula hoops on her arms. that she is spinning around
Like,
like
why?
a crazy person. And number four, she's got a ball that she's throwing up in the air. And I just love it because Barbie was giving such a serious performance the entire Maxi Challenge as kind of gruff character and didn't break characters. So to see her doing
Yeah.
all this silly stuff in the background just made me smile so much.
Yeah, I love her. She's amazing.
Yeah, she's a treasure. After the judging, the girls go into Untucked, and I thought a really interesting conversation happened, which kind of echoed something that happened earlier in the episode and also echoed something that I mentioned last week with respect to Loreley. It seemed to me last week that maybe some stuff was going on that we weren't seeing on camera, just judging by the way the girls were talking to her. It seemed like there was a way that she was behaving that was irking the other girls. And they finally address it this episode earlier when they come into the workroom the day of the elimination. The girls mention to Loreley that she's just been really negative and been really pissy and just complained about everything and really not had a lot of self-confidence. And in the workroom, she kind of just like, oh, I have resting bitch face. I just look like I'm pissed, but I promise that's just how I look. But in my head, I was thinking, girl, they're not commenting on how your face looks. They're commenting on the words that are coming out of it. And I don't think, I mean, for real though. And like,
Yeah, no, 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 you're right.
I
Yeah,
don't think I don't think she really got that at that moment. But in Untucked, Meta brings it up again and actually kind of confronts her directly about it and is just like, you need to be more confident in your skills. Like, we don't want to sit here and listen to you say that you're going to be lip syncing and, oh, it's this person's fault or this thing's fault and it's not my fault and everything's terrible, because she is so talented and is getting lots of praise from the judges and, has two Maxi Challenge wins under her belt at this point. But apparently off screen, she's just really feeling down about herself and about her performance and being vocal about it. And it's interesting that they're showing this storyline because they haven't shown any of that
yeah,
really to us at all. And I don't know if she's purposefully doing it off camera or if that just didn't fit into the storyline that they have going for, but they're addressing it now. And I'm glad though, because you touched on this earlier, but we all do weird things and we all let things get to us. Especially in a pressure cooker type situation like this, I'm not surprised that some of these girls are kind of struggling, with their self confidence and their performance and how they're doing. But I really think it says more about you and how you respond to being confronted by these things.
yeah,
And when
for
Meta
sure.
brings it up, I mean, Lorelai admits that it hurts and admits that it's hard to hear and it's hard to talk about. But her response is that I hear you, it's something I should work on, and I'm sorry that it's bothered all of y'all.
Yeah, she was like, "Thank you for bringing it up."
Yeah, especially when you're trying to process this in front of a bunch of cameras that people all around the world are going to
Yeah,
see. I thought that the way she responded and the way she apologized to Tessa, even though she didn't really need to, I
yeah,
think that that says a lot about her, and I think that she is learning a lot, and she's already working with so much. Like, I feel like if she gets over some of these self confidence issues, she'll be unstoppable.
she's an amazing queen. She has so much talent. She has so much charisma. She really is bringing herself down. I felt like Meta's comment might have come off a bit like as a bit harsh because she was literally like, "I do not care about your whining anymore," and I was like, "Okay, damn, Meta." But I mean, like you said, we don't know what exactly is happening. I
I mean,
understand that you want to focus on yourself and that you want to do well and that you cannot work through the emotional baggage that another queen is going or bringing with her, even especially if that queen is doing amazing in the competition so far. Like if Tessa was the one whining, okay, I get it, but
be that as it may have been a little direct of Meta, but I probably would have said the same
yeah,
thing. Like, nobody wants
yeah,
to hear your bitching, especially if you're winning.
yeah,
Like, that that makes a big difference. And that's also something. It's like Bob in season 8 complaining. Like,
yeah,
you're winning challenges. Like, nobody wants to hear that, especially since this is an episode where Lorelai does win and obviously performed really well. I don't blame Meta for bringing it up. I thought that it was very caring of Meta to bring it up because
Yeah, no,
I feel
I
like
thought it was a good thing.
I feel like it was coming from a place of love. And I mean, these queens are having to spend a lot of time together in a close environment, so it kind of behooves them to like address these kind of situations instead of letting them like fester.
Yeah,
I don't know. I thought it made a nice moment at least.
for sure.
Which was a great setup for Loreley because she won the challenge, which I thought was absolutely deserved. She looked great and she served a great character.
Yeah, no, she was definitely the one that should have won. So
And in the bottom two, we have Pandora Knox for the first time and Tessa
who
Testicle.
was so happy to be there?
I have never seen someone so excited to be in the bottom. You know, during Untucked, she said that she would be happy to lip sync because she knows that she's really good at it. It's what she does. But while she was getting the negative critiques, she just looked giddy, which I'm sure
Yeah,
somebody like Tessa, who is facing off against her, could perceive that as being disrespectful, like not even considering the fact that, hey, I'm here and I'm going to try too. But I really think that it just comes from Pandora's confidence in her performance and
yeah.
that she hasn't been able to do what she does this whole season. And it's her first chance to do that. So I probably would be excited too in her spot.
Yeah, no, I get it. And like, I mean, what I really love about Pandora, I mean, not only is she extremely talented and also talented in many ways, you can see that she really loves drag and she really loves performing, and that's what I love about her.
Oh yeah, it's evident that she has been hungry to tear up this stage, and the
Yeah.
challenges so far haven't really let her just do that.
Oh
And
my god, she was doing too well.
I know. Well, even Tessa gave a really great lip sync, and I thought that on your fourth try in five
Yeah.
episodes that you might just even in her confessionals said that like like why even try? But she
Yeah.
gave a great lip sync. Like it was not a total blowout. And like she said in the confessional, I can't just sit here and let Pandora
Yeah.
win this right out the
No.
gate.
I was amazed because like she mentioned earlier on in the episode that she actually has like bruises everywhere. Her whole body hurts from like
Yeah.
doing three lip syncs 3 weeks in a row,
Yeah.
and she still made an amazing performance. And when she realized what kind of shenanigans Pandora was up to and the
Hmm.
stunts she was pulling,
Oh
I
yeah.
thought it was very clever of her to try to like make like a caricature of that, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Well, because yeah, the first half of the lip sync, like they're really just kind of settling into the song, doing their thing. Obviously, Pandora starts doing the back bends and
Yeah,
giving very like Evie Oddly vibes, which as a contortionist we knew to expect. That at
yeah,
a certain point, yeah, Tessa did kind of turn to the comedy. Like we've seen a few queens in the past do, like kind of trying to do what the other queen is doing, but just kind of
yeah,
ham it up a little bit. But man, they dropped down in some really impressive splits and were flying all over the stage, sliding.
yeah,
The judges definitely ate it up, and I really enjoyed the lip sync. Oh my gosh, Diane,
yeah,
she just,
yeah. I love it. It was a great lip sync.
uh,
I don't know if you know the song.
I had not heard Helena Fisher before, but I'm glad that this was my introduction to her because I did like the song a lot.
It's it's kind of like a meme in Germany because it's like it was blasted in the radio like for months. Like you would always hear the song.
Yeah,
So it is a nice song, but it's like, woo, okay.
right. Well, if you don't know the words to this one, then there is no excuse.
I gotta say, I love the performances. I kind of felt like it wasn't really fitting the song, but I mean, I don't care. It was fun.
I mean, it's an upbeat song, and I mean, if I think about being breathless through the night, it'd probably be because I was throwing myself all around a dance floor, kind of like this.
Yeah,
So I didn't really listen to a lot of the other words, but at least as far as the
yeah,
chorus
that's fair.
goes.
Yeah,
So, not too surprisingly, Pandora knocks, Shantae's She Stays. And I didn't notice until this very moment that she had all the wristbands from all the
yeah,
parties on her arms, which I thought was just a really nice detail to
yeah,
the outfit. And I definitely agree that she deserves to stay. While Tessa, after her fourth lip sync sachets away. Which, even after all this time, I am really sad because I do love her and I think that she's got a lot of charisma and a lot of talent. And I know that we will continue to see her, or at least I will, because I will continue to follow her. And I do hope, like she said, that there is an All Stars season at some point that stars her, because I think with a little bit of time, she could really do some damage.
I mean, I wasn't too happy with her staying over some of the queens that she kicked out.
But that wasn't her decision, really.
Yeah. Oh no, no, no. Of course not. Of course not. That wasn't her. That wasn't her decision. She's definitely very talented. I think this was a very good moment for her to go. I felt like, you know what, this is right.
Yeah, and she seemed to be in a good headspace about it. You know, she wasn't super defeated. I think she realized once she fell into the bottom in this episode that if she stayed, it really wouldn't have been fair to anybody else.
Yeah.
Because, like you said last week, it's not fun if you just bomb the challenge every week and then nail the lip sync, and that keeps you going in this competition. I guess production was probably kind of happy whenever Pandora didn't do that well, because it gave the best chance for it to be decisive that Tessa lost the lip sync, because she is so good at performing, and it takes someone like Pandora to outshine her. And that's just, you know, how the stars aligned. And I think it was the right time.
And she had one of the best exit messages on the mirror in the whole franchise. Although I don't agree with her giving like this one last snarky remark towards Johnny.
Right.
But that was amazing. Just her like I was like, okay, this is genius. Just like wiping the lipstick all over the mirror. This is such an asshole thing to do. I love you for this. And then she pressed her ass against it as well. Okay, iconic.
I can't wait to see how the girls react at the beginning of next week.
Same.
Which, of course, next week is going to be Snatch Game, which we have been waiting for. And I am very curious to see which characters they choose, especially since a couple of the characters we've thought they were going to use have already been used on this season so far. So
I have never been so excited for Snatch Game before. But, I mean, this is mostly because they usually use characters that are like from the pop culture of the country that it's produced in. So I'm so curious to see who they're going to bring to Snatch Game. I'm very sad that they're probably not going to do Barbara Salisch and Merkel now. But I am so excited to see Loreley's performance. Like Loreley and Nikita are I think the two queens to look out for in this episode.
Well, I am fully expectant to not recognize most of them, so you will have plenty to do next week helping us through all of the cultural references.
You have me for this.
Oh, thank you so much, Thomas. Vielen Dank. Du bist der Beste der Welt.
Nein, du bist der Beste.
Okay. I agree. I accept.
Well, fuck you too.
Hey, you had your chance.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Guys, well, thank you all so much for joining us again for this week of Full Throttle. We will be back next week covering episode 6 of Drag Race Germany Season 9 with the epic Snatch Game episode. So thank you once again, Thomas, for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Thank you so much for having me. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye.